Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Tropical Storm Kristine has slightly intensified over the Philippine Sea. And now let's get more updates from our mobile journalist Francis Orsio who joins us this morning. Francis, nasaan na nga ba ang sentro ni Kristine at ano-anong mga lugar ang naapektuhan?
Yes, Pauline, currently the center of the eye was estimated based on all available data from Pag-asa 180 kilometers north-northeast of Verac, Catanduanes. At sa ngayon nga, patuloy yan na kumikilos patungong north-northwestward sa bilis na 25 kilometers per hour. At ngayon, mas dumami pa yung mga areas na nagtaas ng tropical cyclone wind signal ang Pag-asa. Marami na nga dito ang nasa signal number 2, including itong mga probinsya sa may northern Luzon, particularly sa Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Benguet, Mainland Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, Aurora, Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, northern portion ng Zambales, kabilang na rin itong Quezon, Polillo Islands, ang Camarines Norte o itong Bicol region at pati na rin dito sa may ilan pang bahagi ng Sorsogon. At yung signal number 1 naman ay nakikita natin na nakakaranas din dito yung mga ilan pang bahagi ng Luzon, particularly sa may extreme northern Luzon, sa may Zambales, sa Bataan at dito pa sa may area ng Quezon at sa Mimaropa. Pauline.
Okay, Francis, pero gaano ba kalakas yung ulan tsaka yung hangin no, na dulot ng Bagyo Kristine? Kasi sa probinsya ng Albay, naka-state of calamity na sila. Sabi nila, this is one of the worst rainfalls na they've experienced in history.
Yes, Pauline, actually dito sa data na nakalap natin for the 5 a.m. Bulletin of Pag-asa, this tropical cyclone or tropical storm Kristine ay may sustained winds na 85 kilometers per hour at pagbugso o yung gustiness niya na 105 kilometers per hour. At ayon din dito sa mga nakalap nating data, talagang malakas na yung ibinubuhos na ulan dahil heavy to torrential rains yung nararanasan natin ngayon sa maraming bahagi ng lugar dito sa ating bansa, particularly dito sa may lugar ng Cagayan, Isabela, Apayao at lalong-lalo na din dito sa may Bicol region nga, particularly sa Catanduanes, Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur. Kaya asahan talaga natin yung matitinding pagbaha lalo na doon sa mga low-lying areas o doon sa mga mabababang lugar. At syempre, inaasahan din natin ngayon yung 100 to 200 millimeters of rainfall o yung heavy to intense rains dito naman sa iba pang bahagi ng Eastern Luzon, particularly sa may Cagayan, Cordillera Administrative Region, kabilang din dito sa may Ilocos Region, sa Rizal at ilan pang bahagi ng Calabarzon din at Mimaropa dahil nga dito sa tuloy-tuloy na epekto ng mga pagulan dala nitong Bagyong Kristine.
Okay, Francis, lalakas pa ba itong si Tropical Storm Kristine? May chance ba na maging severe tropical storm siya, typhoon, at magla-landfall ba ito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, Kristine, kanina nga, it's light intensifies at inaasahan natin na later in the afternoon, according to the latest tracking forecast ng Pag-asa, na mag-enhance pa ito into a severe tropical storm. Kasi ngayon nga, gaya ng nasabi ko, nasa 85 kilometers per hour na yung maximum sustained winds. At kapag umabot yan sa more than 89, ito na yung sinasabi natin na magiging severe tropical storm na ito, yung mas malakas pa yung hangin na dala at ulan nitong Bagyong Kristine. At inaasahan natin yan mamayang hapon according nga sa latest tracking intensity forecast ng Pag-asa. At mamayang gabi rin, nakikita natin na base sa pagkilos nito ay magla-landfall na ito sa may bahagi ng Isabela or ng Cagayan mamayang gabi at tuloy-tuloy na tatawid yan dito sa may Luzon landmass hanggang sa Thursday at Friday morning. Kristine, or Pauline.
Francis, o kailan naman inaasahang lalabas ng bansa ang Tropical Storm Kristine?
Yes, according din dito sa tracking intensity forecast ng Pag-asa, asahan natin by Friday morning ay nandito pa rin sa loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility itong Bagyong Kristine. At sa umaga rin ng Biyernes ay asahan natin na babaybay, natutumbukin na yan yung direksyon patungong West Philippine Sea at lalabas na rin ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. Pero paglilinaw ng Pag-asa, Kristine o Pauline, na kahit na nakalabas na ito ng PAR, ay asahan pa rin natin yung epekto nito dahil malawak yung sakop ng kaulapan nitong bagyo. Kaya kahit nakalabas na ito ng PAR, yung mga nasa areas ng Western Luzon, particularly sa may Ilocos region, at dito na rin sa Central Luzon, ay asahan natin yung magpapaulan pa rin or magkakaroon pa rin ng direct effect itong Bagyong Kristine. Pauline.
Bukod kay Kristine, may iba pa bang weather disturbances na binabantayan ngayon ng Pag-asa, Francis?
So far, Pauline, wala pa naman tayong nakikita iba pang sama ng panahon na maaaring makaapekto sa bansa. But according to the latest track and intent or potential forecast ng pag-asa, possible next week, no, meron isa pang sama ng panahon na maaaring mabuo. Kaya isa din ito sa minomonitor ngayon ng pag-asa. Although sa ngayon, based sa latest data, ay mababa pa lang yung chance na mabuo ito into a tropical cyclone. Pero nakikita doon sa track and intensity potential forecast ng pag-asa na maaring ngang may mabuo na kung hindi man low pressure area pero panibagong cloud cluster na maaring makaapekto dito sa ating bansa.
Okay, monitor natin yan. But for now, maraming salamat para sa update na yan. That was mobile journalist Francis Orsio. Well, some towns in the country were already heavily flooded due to Tropical Storm Kristine. In Tagkawayan, Quezon, some roads are currently impassable after a heavy rain brought by Kristine. Meanwhile, the flood in Naga City is already at chest level. In Libon, Albay, residents are staying on the roofs after their houses were almost submerged in flood. The whole province of Albay is now under state of calamity. It is also heavily flooded in San Roque, Northern Samar, and Picawayan, North Cotabato. Classes and government office work are suspended today in some parts of the country due to Tropical Storm Kristine. The palace has suspended classes and work in government offices in the entire island of Luzon due to the impact of the storm. Classes are also suspended in the towns of Abra de Ilog, Calintaan, Looc, Lubang, Magsaysay, Mamburao, Paluan, Rizal, San Jose, and Santa Cruz in Occidental Mindoro. The local governments of Cebu City and Lapu-Lapu City have also declared suspension of classes in all levels. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. In the Philippine Star, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla wants to trim down the number of police generals from 133 to just 25. The process, which would take 4 months, is part of Remulla's efforts to reform the PNP. And in business world, the International Monetary Fund kept the Philippine gross domestic product growth outlook at 5.8% this year. This would make the Philippines the second fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. President Bongbong Marcos just smiled when the media asked for his comment about Vice President Sara Duterte's tirades against him. Meanwhile, the Vice President revealed that Senator Amy Marcos became cold to her after her remarks against her family. Ria Fernandez has that report.
President Bongbong Marcos was with the First Lady when he attended today's event, the 123rd anniversary of the Philippine Coast Guard. When the media caught up to them for a chance interview, he was immediately asked about Vice President Sara Duterte's tirades against him last Friday.
The Vice President said that you don't know how to be a president. Comment that you don't know how to become a president.
As you saw, the president simply smiled and walked away, as did First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos. But their son, Ilocos Norte 1st District Representative Sandro Marcos, is fed up. In a long statement released earlier today, the lawmaker said that he has been holding his tongue all this time out of respect for the vice president, but he can no longer stay silent while she threatens to exhume a former president and behead an incumbent one. He went on. Her bizarre temper tantrum has been condemned by a nation horrified from such displays of insensitivity towards the dead and cruelty to the living. Congressman Marcos ended with, going ballistic was perhaps the self-therapy she prescribed for herself, but she crossed the line. May she find a peace of mind and mental clarity that seems to be eluding her. The first person in the Marcos family who spoke up about the issue was Senator Amy Marcos' son, Ilocos Norte Governor Matthew Manotoc. The Vice President gave the keynote address at the Philippine Business Conference and Expo earlier today, after which she was also cornered by reporters. She said she understood why the young Marcoses called her out, but she said she got angry this time because people close to her are being harassed.
And ngayon, nagalit ako kasi sa paghabol-habol nila sa akin, yung mga kasamahan ko, hinahabol din nila. Excuse ko na lang, let's give them privacy. But one is already in depression, one is already contemplating suicide, one is in the hospital, may isa hindi nakakatulog.
Vice President Duterte also said she doesn't think she attacked Senator Amy Marcos in her fiery press conference last week. But after that, she texted Amy, who had turned cold.
She was cold, malamig. And then meron siyang sinabihan ng common friend namin na naiinis siya sa akin at kay BBM. And then sinabihan ko yung common friend namin, sabihin mo sa kanya, huwag siya mainis sa akin at kay BBM. Mainis siya kay Lisa at kay Martin.
Duterte also accepted calls by lawmakers for her to undergo a mental health exam, but only if the so-called Young Guns group in the lower house undergo a drug test too.
Game tayo. I will call that neuropsychiatric exam. Pero, let us make this an election issue. Yung Young Guns, I am sure kasi young sila, magpapa-re-elect pa yan. They are running as re-electionists. So, ang gagawin natin, 2 tests sa akin. Kasi sinasabi nila, ano daw ako, unstable daw ako. Paningin ko naman sa kanila, unstable din sila. Diba? I will do 2 tests. Neuropsychiatric exam and drug tests. Pero dapat, lahat ng mga young guns na kandidato, lahat ng mga congressional candidates ay magpa-drug test.
Duterte also insisted they do the drug test immediately.
Hindi pwedeng 3 months after kasi hindi magdodroga yan ng 3 months tapos na yung testing nila.
So anytime?
So dapat
ngayon na. Ngayon na. Magpa-drug test tayong lahat at dagdagan ko ang sa akin neuropsychiatric exam.
Shortly after, the Young Guns issued a group statement saying they accept her challenge, but they countered with their own condition. They want the Vice President to testify under oath before the House Blue Ribbon Committee investigating alleged fund misuse within the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. House Assistant Majority Leader and Zambales Representative J. Kong-hun said, "We are more than willing to take the drug test and psychiatric exam, but we will not allow her to divert the real issue, which is the allegations of fund misuse and graft and corruption against her." For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
It's just 2 weeks away before Election Day in the U.S., and presidential candidates are working double time in their respective campaigns. Republican candidate Donald Trump was in Miami, Florida to convince more Latino voters. Aside from the usual jabs against Harris, Trump rallied or railed against green energy and had a roundtable discussion with other Latinos. Meanwhile, Democratic candidate Kamala Harris will head to Texas in an attempt to flip the Republican state. Her campaign team said Harris will focus on reproductive health care in her rally in Texas. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.